So let's take a moment just to get present. We've all had journeys to come, to be here. So let's take a moment just to feel the ground beneath our feet, bringing that awareness to being here and now, and taking a moment to just breathe and center ourselves in this holy moment, knowing that we are here by divine appointment, that there is no mistake in the universe, and each of us are here for a wonderful reason that will become clear as the meeting progresses. As we light the candle and recognize the light as the outer symbol, know that it represents the inner light that we all are. That no one can take away or destroy or damage in any way. So I invite you all to reconnect in prayer. Let us say the opening prayer and invocation that speaks out loud what I have just said for all of us, that we recognize God in this room here and now. Let's say it together. I am now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love and wisdom. I acknowledge thy presence and thy power, O blessed Spirit. In thy divine wisdom, now erase my mortal limitations, and from thy pure substance of love, bring into manifestation my world according to thy perfect law.
And this is a daily word for today, Sunday, June the 16th. It's a blessing for fathers. I honour all father figures in my prayers. Today is an opportunity to recognise and honour the fatherly influences in my life, whether their role is a parent, mentor, teacher or coach. Their encouragement and guidance gave me the gift of believing in myself. My prayers also include fathers and stepfathers who are new to the role, learning the importance, dedication and patience it takes. I bless the role models who are helping to build life skills and live by example. Whether changing a nappy, telling a story, attending a school function, or teaching how to ride a bike, at the heart of all that matters is love. God's presence is active in their lives. I pray they live in this awareness and enjoy the experience of watching children discover who they are and what they are capable of achieving. And the Bible reading is, I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you. It's from Isaiah 41:10. And now if we just speak the invocation once more, the affirmation, and 3 times, but use the personal pronoun I on this occasion. I know we use I, you, we, but just emphasise the I in the I honour all father figures in my prayers. And if we say that 3 times. I honour all father figures in my prayers. I honour all father figures in my prayers. I honour all father figures in my prayers. Thank you.
Let's begin with a little solemnity. Please take the hand of the person next to you, if you can reach. And I'll hold yours on the telly there. Please close our eyes, and together we take a deep breath. We see in the middle of our mind a little ball of golden light. We watch this light as it grows larger and larger, until now it fills the entire inner vision of our mind. We picture for ourselves a beautiful temple a garden that surrounds the temple, and a gently flowing stream that runs through the garden. We see that the inside of the temple is lit by that same golden light. And we are here through the power and in the presence of God. We dedicate this moment and our time together to God, and we ask that Spirit so guide our thoughts, our feelings and our perceptions, that we may be happier, more peaceful, more loving men and women. And for this we say thank you, Father, Mother, God. Please open your eyes and turn and smile at one another. May as well get it over, as they say. Let's move that gizmo there. Yeah, Father's Day. We've done the Father's Day talk many times, and I usually say I know it's Father's Day because I have a card from my wife. the kids, but today was different. Our son and his wife and two girls descended on us because there's a big fairground in the village, and they were going mad when we left them. We were dizzy with the noise and the bustle. So here we are. But Jesus mentioned Dad a lot, didn't he? Abba, Daddy, Father, Buddy, you might say, and we might come back to that later. But anyway, I'm down to talk to you on freedom, you know. And you may say, well, why? And looking at it, it's a big feature. There is, about 150 years ago, there was a very learned writer on metaphysics and spiritual enlightenment that was connected with Unity. She was called Dr. Emily Cady, and she wrote a book, and the first chapter is called Liberty or Bondage, which? What a cheek, eh? Do you want to be free or do you want to be enslaved? What a funny question. And the book is called Lessons in Truth. Get that. I'll say a little bit more about it, because she then says many people don't want to be free. We have habits, we have commitments, we have patterns of thinking that have helped us survive in our life, and we're reluctant to give them up without a very good reason. But there's a thing called the 12-step program. Have most of you heard of that? It's a thing that alcoholics and addicts use to help their recovery. And in the book that describes how to do it, there is what they call the promises. And it goes like this. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. And it goes on with more promises. We will know how to do things that used to baffle us, and we won't be worried about money. And we'll grow ginger hair on our chest and long curly toenails. No, not the ginger hair. Forget that. But the very first thing in Emily Cady's book is freedom. The very first thing promised in that 12-step program is freedom. And Jesus said something which is very often quoted in Unity. I think it's condensed a bit too much. When he said, the truth will make you free. Unity is part of the New Thought movement that grew in the United States in the latter part of the 19th century. It was very open. So and Unity meetings that I've experienced are very open, and we've had faith healers and all sorts of people come and talk to us, and there is no creed or no dogma. That you don't have to sign to the 39 articles like you do in the Church of England. And in fact, when I went to Unity Village, one of the teachers said, let me make one thing clear. If anyone says to you, you have to believe something, don't believe them. it was started, before Unity started, there was a sort of movement generally, and one of the father figures of that, a chap called Ralph Waldo Emerson, was a Unitarian minister, a bit different, and he made a very famous speech to the Divinity School at Harvard University in 1836, was it, or something? And he said, we are all able to have the experience of God's presence. And he said, while the doors of the temple stand ever open, I'll paraphrase a little, he says, whatever somebody tells me, I must find true in me or reject it entirely. And on his say-so or as his second, I can accept nothing. That is quite difficult in many religions. And Unity has grown up with that idea that we have our own experience of the divine in whatever way it is, and that is the truth for us. And when we have it, we create our own world. We realize that we are one in some sense with the divine and co-creators of the world we see. And what most people think of when they talk about freedom is freedom from something. And I will say it's fear. It is the 1,000 forms of fear we come to. Don't understand. It's my work, it's my marriage, it's my finances, I got money worries. No, you haven't got any of those. You've got fear. And so I'm going to say that what these things that I've read to you are all about, and the words of Jesus are, how do I live in this world and take each day as it comes, and yet know that I need not be afraid? That is the message. And Jesus used to say this. He used to say, fear not, in the original version. Fear not, little flock. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Fear not. And so we had three recommendations or promises about fear. But let's go back to this one of Jesus. It happens in John's Gospel. Oh, again, let me just say something about the Bible, because there may be some of you that don't go for the... I'm not big on the Bible myself, but some people who hold it as the Word of God. There are 27 books in the New Testament. 4 of them are called Gospels. 3 of those, Matthew, Mark and Luke, aim to tell the story of the ministry of Jesus, from being a disciple of John the Baptist, teaching in the little villages. He never went into towns. He taught in the villages of a pretty humdrum province, Galilee. And then he went to Jerusalem one Sunday and was executed on the Friday. Doesn't sound much, but his disciples, his followers, had an experience which changed them from being timid and rather missing the point into articulate, courageous and very powerful speakers, to the extent that they became the religion of the Roman Empire within a couple of 100 years. John's Gospel, which is the 4th one, is different. It does not tell the story this year. In fact, it jumps about all over the place, and it is largely mystical and allegorical. So it tells stories with an inner message. I'm going through all that because whenever somebody says, this, that, and it's in John's Gospel, I sort of step back and think, do I have to consider it? But that little story I'm about to tell you, I think is right, and I'll explain why. I think it probably does go back to Jesus. They never go... A lot of these things, he wouldn't have ever given them as a full speech like they do. There'd be things that he said many, many times. Blessed are the meek and so on. He probably said it every breakfast. This story is about talking to Jewish know-it-alls, Pharisees, who want to trap him and trick him. And so they bring to him a woman who has been caught in adultery and under Jewish law should be stoned to death. And they say, come on, wise guy, what should we do with this woman? And Jesus, if you remember the story, doesn't answer. He bends down and starts doodling in the sand. A friend of mine does lectures on this, so I phoned him up recently to say, what do you reckon about this, Peter? And between us we came up with some ideas as to what it might be. Partly, I think, to give these people time to really get ready for his reply. And partly, I think, to do what Kimry has already mentioned, I'm sure, and what we do is stop looking at the problem and look at God. And we'll come back to that more. Raise one's eyes. Jesus calls it going into the upper room. Turn the attention away from the problem and look at God. And I think that was why he did this. And then he gave the answer which you're all familiar with, let the first of you without sin cast a stone. And they all look very sheepish and push off. But what the story then goes on to say is they all get at him then, and they're all saying, who do you think you are? And he said, more or less says, I'm the son of God. And they say, well, that's a terrible thing to say. We're the sons of Adam. It's back chat goes on for quite a few verses. And he says, well, if you were as good as Adam was, you'd be better than you are. You know, you don't get it, basically. And then, when he's got fed up with them, he turns to the ones who have been listening to him, who have followed him, and who are not heckling. And he says to them, if you continue to do my works, that is to think like me, to act like me, to perceive things like me, then you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. It's not automatic. It's not just reading the book. It's not going on the course. It's doing it. And that is what the other things say. That's what the 12-step program does. If you are painstaking about the steps I've already covered, Emily Cady says, here's 20 more chapters or whatever it is, telling you how to be free rather than enslaved. Many of you will have had the experience of trying to help someone, sometimes for many years, and you say, there is another way of looking at this. If we can learn to rely on this higher power, we can get guidance. Things will happen, the coincidences, messages, things that you read or through other people, or maybe you'll hear a voice or writing on the wall. And they say, yeah, but, my money, my bank, my wife, da-da-da-da. And yeah, but is the sort of enemy of it. And I see that as all these Pharisees saying, yeah, but Jesus, you don't know what it is. And he says, I know, you're trying to kill me. You're trying to trip me up so that you can get me killed. So, how do we do that? And that's the $64,000 question. I guess inflation's made that a lot higher. Somebody, I can't think who now, says it's one thought away. We change our minds. That's all we have to do. It's one thought away. Is that truth and the perception? We chose wrongly. The Course in Miracles would say, if we feel pain, it's because we chose somehow wrongly, and we have to choose again. And what it boils down to, I think, is let go, let God. That's my favourite slogan of all the slogans. Let go. Stop it. You've got a problem? Shut up, I explain to them. Let's talk about God. And they back away. No, it's let go, let God. What do you mean, let go? The word we use is forgiveness. Forgiveness is look beyond, forego it. Just turn the other cheek, turn the mind the other way. And let God. How do I let God? And the word for that, so it's in two words, forgive and gratitude. Be grateful. Gratitude draws to us the solution to the thing. It draws to us the very thing for which we are grateful. There's a little booklet, again if you're new to Unity, there's a little booklet I would heartily recommend. It's 6 pages and it's called The Golden Key. And it's by a man called Emmett Fox, who was extremely influential, divine science minister. And he says, stop looking at the problem, whatever it is, and turn to God. Whatever your concept, it doesn't seem to matter whether it's, the God of your upbringing or the God of a different church. Turn to the source of all, the source of love and strength, and then allow it time to work. Live in the grace, the flow of love, which is always here, which is healing, strengthening, all providing. We didn't get many laughs, but you can get laughs through grace. And so if you would, let us just finish with another few moments of silence. We close our eyes and we breathe slowly in the grace and the strength and the love that is around us, and more importantly, within us.
We give thanks for each of you being present here in person and online. And we give thanks for God as that continuing light that shines brightly in our minds, our bodies, our hearts, leading us forward this day to bless us and bless all those whom we interact with on this bright, sunshiny day. Amen.
Amen.
So we have a closing prayer. This is the prayer for protection. And we have it in this adapted form where we have the I am statements. And these I am statements are God in us. So when we say the light of God surrounds us, God in me is light. I am light. So we're going to say it with that knowing that we are speaking through God and as God as we speak these words. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. Amen, absolutely. So remember that I am is God in me is that. And we take that out into the world as we do all that is ours to do. And we end this afternoon with our peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternal.